TGI Fridays has filed for bankruptcy, so we're gonna make their signature dish, potato skins. This is gonna be one of the best potato side dishes you'll ever have in your life. It's cheesy, loaded with bacon and buttery mashed potatoes, and we also made a homemade ranch that just elevates this meal to the next level. Let's get to cooking. First things first, grab yourself 4 russet potatoes and with a fork, stab them 8 to 12 times. You can also press the fork into the potato if you want a safer method of stabbing it. From there, place your potato on a sheet of aluminum foil and then drizzle a little bit of olive oil over them, followed by a healthy sprinkling of our secret powder, which I will not so secretly put in the description below. Close your aluminum foil around the potato and then place it on a sheet pan and throw it in an oven set to 425 degrees for an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. From there, grab some thick cut bacon, placing it on a wire rack or sheet pan and throwing that also in the same oven from anywhere between 25 to 35 minutes. We want this bacon to be fairly crispy. Now we're gonna do all of our knife work. Grab yourself some chives and then finely cut them as best you can, throwing them into a container. You're also gonna do the same thing with dill, finely mincing it as well and putting it into a separate container. Next, grab a green onion and chop only the green top section of it. Now we're going to need around half of 1 shallot. Cut off the tip and then split it in half, peeling off the outside layer and chopping off the root. Next, give it a loose, rough dice like so. Grab yourself 1 to 2 cloves of garlic and then throw them in the same container as your shallots. We're going to move on now to our cheeses, which is mozzarella and sharp cheddar. You'll only need to grate about half of each and make sure to separate them into separate bowls. Don't mix the cheeses just yet. Now both our bacon and potatoes are still cooking in the oven, so we're gonna move on and make our ranch dipping sauce. In a high side container, we're gonna throw in 1 egg yolk, followed by our shallots and garlic. Then squeeze 15 grams of lemon juice, which is a little less than half a lemon. Give it a decent pinch of salt. I did 6 grams. Pour in 60 grams of buttermilk and 60 grams of sour cream. We're also gonna put in 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of onion powder, as well as 2 teaspoons or 8 grams of garlic powder. Now, don't you dare say there isn't enough garlic in here, because there is plenty. And for our second to last ingredient, we're also gonna put in 2 pinches of MSG, and this is entirely optional because I know you probably don't have this. This was also right around the time my bacon was finished, so I'm gonna pull it out of the oven, and as you can see, it's looking nice and crispy. You definitely want the fat of this bacon nicely rendered because you don't want it to be chewy when you bite into your potatoes. Back to our ranch. With an immersion blender, we're gonna blend all of our ingredients, really making sure to mince all of those shallots and garlic cloves. Next, we're gonna slowly stream in 1 cup of vegetable oil while blending. Once you've fully incorporated and emulsified the oil, we're gonna throw in half of your chopped dill and half of your chives as well. Give it a mix, and now you have the best ranch you'll ever taste in your entire life. This sauce is creamy and salty. The lemon gives a little bit of acid, and the dill and chives add a nice herbal flavor to it. I should also mention that this ranch recipe is inspired by both Brian Lagerstrom and Kenji López's recipes. Now, our potatoes are still in the oven, but we got one more thing to chop, which is our bacon. You want to give it a rough chopping to get about bite-sized pieces, not too big and not too small. Now, after an hour and 15 minutes, pull your potatoes out of the oven. You can let them rest, but I'm impatient, so I'm gonna pull them out of the aluminum foil and split them in half with a knife. Please be careful though, because they are ripping hot. Once I got them all split in half, I'm gonna use my knife and give the inside of the potato vertical and horizontal cuts, kind of mapping out the outline where I'm gonna use my spoon to scoop out the potato insides. Next, I'm gonna grab my spoon and scrape the potato, throwing in all the insides into a bowl. Once you've scraped all your potatoes, throw the skins back on a sheet pan and throw it back in the oven for 5 to 10 more additional minutes, just so that they get nice and crispy. In the bowl with the potato bits, we're gonna throw in the rest of our dill, the majority of our bacon, leaving a little bit in reserve for toppings later, a healthy couple sprinkles of sharp cheddar cheese, as well as our mozzarella cheese, 3/4 of a stick of butter, as well as freshly cranked black pepper, and a healthy pinch of salt. Give it a good mixing until everything is melted and incorporated like this, and then throw your potato mixture into a Ziploc bag so that way it's easier to pipe it back into the potato potato skins later. Speaking of potato skins, we're gonna pull them out of the oven, and as you can see, they are very crispy. Also, please make sure to be careful because I'm about to burn my hand. Here, there. After icing my fingers, I'm gonna grab my mashed potatoes and cut the tip off the Ziploc bag and slowly pipe the mixture back into the potato skins. I don't wanna put too much of our potatoes back in there because we wanna make sure there's space for our cheese and bacon bits. Use your non-burnt fingers to level out your mashed potatoes and then top it with a mixture of your remaining sharp cheddar and mozzarella. You do wanna make sure you're putting more sharp cheddar than mozzarella. I think this looks better in terms of visuals. Once you're done sprinkling your cheese, you're gonna sprinkle your green onions on top as well and our remaining bacon bits. Now this thing is ready for its last visit in the oven. We're gonna leave it in there for 5 to 10 more minutes, only until the cheese is melted thoroughly. One short oven break later, we have our beautifully finished potato skins with the cheese nice and bubbly on top. I'm gonna plate it up with our ranch sauce in the middle, and I gotta say, this is probably one of the best versions of potato skins I've ever had. I may have never visited TGI Fridays, but there is no shot they make them as good as this. I really hoped you enjoyed this recipe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below and have a wonderful rest of your day.